And we are live, and one more time, we're live. And thank you very much for joining us live today on Behind the Markets. So, to everybody who has actually joined us, sorry, just checking with our team on the. So, just waiting for, I think, Stephanie to just get in a little bit ready today. But thank you for everybody who has joined us today. And today is. It would be Futuristic Friday, but it is the final Friday. It's not the final Friday of Behind the Markets. They will be going, though it will be ongoing forward. But it is my final Friday. And today I'll be leaving you with one more lesson. I got a few questions that will be asked of me. And it is time for me to say Auf Wiedersehen, say goodbye. It's a bittersweet moment. I don't know where Stephanie is. I'm trying to wait for her, but it appears the music just keeps continue playing. Stephanie, do give me a notification when you are ready. But thank you very much to all who are joining us today. So remember to tell your parents, tell your friends, tell everyone. Log in and give us a comment. Tell us who is with you, who you're with right now as we get started in today. So today's conversation, one last check-in. Today's conversation. Good morning to you, Stephanie. Just checking if you're there. Okay. So today's final conversation. The reason I've been having this conversation about creating products that fit the market, and I was going to finish this off as a final
So, of course,
goodbye.
like we did mention on the other side, we are live on Money FM page
Good morning to you,
93.7,
Stephanie.
and we are live with Munyumba Mutwale, who definitely is giving us behind the markets. Now, remember, you could also find us on LinkedIn. It's Money FM Zambia, and of course, you can also get to download our Money FM app from App Store as well as Google Play Store. Now you could also get to join us. Really, comment in the comment section, ask the questions if you can on 077 1616 290. Good morning, Amunyumba. How are you?
Good morning to you, Stephanie. We are live and we are kicking away on the social media audience as well on the side on the digital audience. Sorry, Stephanie. I think watch the background music, please. We have somehow rotated back into it. Okay, I think. Sorry to everyone. I think we're having a little bit of a glitch here with our team in the studio. Right. Yes, I am good, and thank you to everybody who has joined. It appears when our team in the studio is ready, it appears there's something happening with the technicals. So for that purpose, we will kind of rotate back into the regular part of the show. And I remember that yesterday I left it at here: creating a product versus solving a problem. And I said that you want people out there, and the reason I've been having this conversation about creating products that fit the needs of the market is simply because that is what we need as a country to move in the right direction. We need to start looking at the problems in society, solving them, and turning those solutions into not just one-off solutions, but into products that our people can consume commercially. That will create wealth and better our society in totality. So that has been the biggest drive that we should be going for. This is why we've spoken about investment. This is why we've spoken about entrepreneurship. This is why we've spoken about solving our own problems. This is the main thing that I have been driving at, that this nation needs to have a generation that pushes itself to see the problems of society not as a reason to hit the streets and just always make noise about them, but to see the problems of society as an opportunity to step up and be the hero that you are meant to be, not by bringing awareness to things all the time, but to also making something happen about them. Awareness is good. It's very important to bring awareness, but life doesn't end at awareness. It ends at action. Okay, awareness is the trigger, action is the end point. Even if you look at the ADIA marketing tool, you catch people's attention, you stimulate, you give them information. So you stimulate their intentions, you stimulate their desires, and you make them take action. So the key is, what is the action point that we can push a lot of people to? And this is why we have to create the products that solve our problems. So this is the leap, I think, as a country we're struggling with. Having that generation that looks at the problems, that looks at the issues, that looks at the gaps, that looks at the inefficiencies and says, our systems are inefficient, I'm going to make it efficient. This thing is not working, I'm going to make it work. This thing is not there, I'm going to bring it there. It's that generation and that mentality that will finally push us to the limits that we need to be. And that's why I've been talking about creating products that fit the market, reading the needs of the people. We are all driven and stimulated solely by our financial needs, but we're not reading the needs of the people of this country in order to be able to fight and give it what it actually needs. Hopefully our team is back with us.
The major convertible currencies in the market.
Okay, it appears that unfortunately we're going on a perpetual ad break in the studio.
Market is now trading at 21 for international remove.
So trying to get as many of us to actually step up to the gate financially, and not financially, economically, to change things. So let's talk finally about a generation that creates the products that fit the market. So let's get into, as I said, this is why we've been talking about not just solving a problem one time. So I'll give you an example. At the time I was at Kulima Tower and it was raining, it was soaked, okay? And unfortunately, we had a situation where it was raining and it was soaked. And unfortunately, we had a situation where it was flooded outside. Now, a couple of guys created a minor bridge where they took a few cartons that they used to, those wooden boxes. And I think you see that a lot, where they put you on their back, put a few boxes, and then you walk across, and they manage to get you through the actual water itself, the waterlogged area itself. That's a solution. It's not something that's lasting. It's a solution. It's not something that is standardized. It's not there. Now, if somebody was to create a bridge over that road where people could pass permanently, that's a lasting solution, which becomes a product. So that's the difference. And then also a product is a directly used thing. People go somewhere with intentionally using it. So when a consumer wants to use your product, they know where they're going. So there's actually something called the 5 levels of awareness, consumer awareness. There's consumers who are problem aware. So in other words, or they're consumers who are unaware. They're not even aware they have a problem. They're just totally unaware, so you end up having to educate them that they're actually facing a problem. Then there are consumers who are problem aware, okay? And problem aware consumers, they know they have a problem, they don't know what the solution is, so you have to kind of show them a solution. Then there are consumers who are solution aware, so they know what solves their problem, but they don't know what product is the solution for that problem, because remember, the product is a packaging for a solution. Then there are consumers who are product aware. Okay, so they know which products are the options that they can use. So they're really just now trying to make a choice between products. So you market to them a little bit differently. And then finally, there's consumers who are fully aware. They're ready to buy. They know exactly what they're here for. They're not even here to pick between products. That's it. They're just here and they're ready to go. All they need to know is there's a special, there's something, they know what they need, they know what it's good for, everything. So what we need, we when it comes to our economy, we as people, we've kind of left it at problem aware. We all know the problems. We go on air every single day, whatever stations we're on, and we just blurt out the problems. But there's not enough solutions, and there's not enough lasting solutions, which have turned into products and ways of life. A product, people may not understand this, is an actual way of life. That's the beauty about commerce. When you create a product, you've actually created a way of life. Whether it's a shoe, whether it's a brand of Mili Meal, whether it's a taxi booking app, whatever it is, a product is a way of life. And to a society, that's what we need to remember, that we must create ways of life. And that is why even Warren Buffett says the most investable companies are things that are ways of life. And the thing is that as a society, we've kind of outsourced our way of life to everyone out there, as opposed to creating our way of life ourselves. Okay. And it's really important for us as a society to create our way of life. That's really important for us to do. So remember, I gave you my 6 S's. How do you get people to know what your product is? So I wanted to start quickly with the fact that we do need to create new markets. And creating new markets means that the best companies don't just create a product, they actually create a new market. And so how do you create a new market? You find a hidden need, okay? So you find a hidden need in society, one that people are expressing. So find a hidden need. It seems silly at the moment. Nobody wants to pay attention to it. And what are you a substitute for? What do you do better than? What are people hiring you to do? So create a new market if you have to. Okay? Where are customers pulling you to? You're doing one thing, but your customers keep pulling, hey man, do you do this? Hey, so I'm using your product for this. So when they just start using your product for something else, I'll give you an example. YouTube, when it was created, was a dating site. But today it's now a video sharing site. It's got entertainment, everything. They created it so people could create video profiles for dating applications. But they found that their customers were pulling them more towards content creation. And it was content sharing, music sharing, all sorts of things. So it was really interesting, the direction that went. So look, and then start looking at where incumbents have limited functionality. That's an important way to also look at it. Hopefully we have Stephanie now joining us here. So this is how you create new markets. So it's a challenge to all of us to look at where there's limited functionality, unaddressed needs. Customers are having to re-engineer. I remember seeing a video once of there was a black lady who found that, and I'm sure this is the struggle that Stephanie, if you're here, maybe you can actually even attest to this, who found that a lot of the makeup industry is not designed with black women's skin in mind. So a lot of black women had to go home and start becoming chemists and blending mixes of makeup so that they could get something that could actually work for their skin. Because it wasn't created in that way. And she kind of said, oh, so this is a market where black women have to take whatever products are there and do that. So she actually created the actual color palettes for black women. And she's actually built up a business from there. So where are people pulling you in that direction? What is the actual direction most of the customers are looking for? So that's what we mean when we say creating a new market. And the bridge that we're trying to call as many people to start to do, and this is why we have been talking about enterprise and wealth, is that people have to start. How do you go from an idea to actually something that works, that pays, that's profitable? And it's in 6 steps that you have to iterate. Talk to people and develop an idea of what problems they're facing. Talk to them. Ask them. People are willing to tell you what their problems are, especially with an industry, especially paying customers. Talk to them. Listen to their problems and pains, and not their solutions. People will tell you, I wish I had this and that. Listen to what pains they're struggling with, because in their pain is actually where where you can now start to see the solution. Because most customers lack the insight for the actual solution that they need. They will try and recommend one because they've had to engineer solutions for themselves so many times, but really just listen to their pain, listen to what they're struggling with, listen to what they're missing, listen to what is creating barriers in their life. What are the issues? Keep digging down and asking multiple whys so that you can get to root problems that they're facing. Then rapid prototype and test with people. Build solutions. Test your solutions. Did it work? Then go back and ask them, how can I do this better? And keep improving. Okay, everybody wants to start with this perfect solution from day one. Sometimes you just have to start with a back alley solution and just keep rapidly iterating and improving what people are looking for. Okay, whatever they ask you, people are always going to give you feedback. When you put an actual solution in people's faces, they will keep improving. They will keep asking you for things. So how do you rapidly test something that's in front of people, whether it's makeup, whether it's a radio show, whether it's a TV show, whether it's it's a market intelligence, whatever it is you're offering, whether it's a product or a service, a meal. Build a fully functional product. Building a fully functional product with all the specifications you dreamed about is a very expensive way to test. So focus on creating a basic model that has good enough functionality. Okay, focus on quickly getting it in front of a customer. Don't worry about scaling and monetizing. Expect about 10 prototypes before you get somewhere. I'm telling you, this is the truth about all product creation. Expect this to be about a 10 times process. You are going to come up with something, improve it. The funny thing about customers is they like things that just keep improving. They don't mind that it doesn't start off perfectly as long as it keeps getting better. They're always, whenever you keep improving, they're always curious about the journey ahead. So that's something that we should do. Solutions, now even trying to test solutions with companies, there are two rules. Make sure that you're talking to the target audience, but be flexible on who that is. Be careful and don't overthink things. Anecdotal evidence is okay. In other words, if it's a few people, it's okay. Don't overthink it and don't try to over-perfect it. The tools that can help, you can use customer interviews, user experience sessions. You can use different metrics as well. So this is just some of the guidelines that were put out as well whenever you're testing things with customers, because this is what we need is an innovative generation that goes out there to actually create products for people. And basically how to reach the market, and I'm going to leave it here, is determine your target market, identify an underserved need, define your value proposition to your customer, specify at least a minimum set of features that they really need, develop your basic product, and test it in front of your customers consistently until they give you the feedback that improves it. So establishing a distinct need established needs, distinct needs, not high-level needs. Okay, so you need to make sure that you are also establishing what people do. So a common mistake that people keep making is that they keep customer segments broad. So people will say, my product is for everyone. My product is for Lusaka. No, it's not. It's for a specific group of people. So zero in on these people. Who are they? What do they look like? What is their time? What do they spend their days doing? So solve problems in a distinct way. That's another thing that we can try and do as a society. Look for underserved needs and underserved problems. Don't come up with solutions already. Listen to the actual problems they are facing and then try and craft the most basic solutions from there. We talked about going through the 5 whys, and then we talked about trying to look for things that are highly satisfactory to somebody and where they're not satisfied with the current solution, but it's a very important thing. Go after needs where people, and you can see here, it's importance of user need versus customer satisfaction with current solutions. So you want low satisfaction with current solutions, high importance to the consumer. These are the ones you start to address, where they're not happy with what's happening right now, but it's really important to them. Those are the gaps. Those are the great opportunities. If it's something that they are already highly satisfied with or they don't find important, you're really going to have a problem trying to build a market there. So I think some of this I will, at another time in life, in another venture, and you will keep catching me, you will find that it is something that I am very passionate about. However, the reason I had this conversation, I've had the wealth pyramids and everything, is because these are the final words I wanted to leave the people of this country with, being my last session on Behind the Markets in the many years that we have had here. I would have loved my co-hosts to actually have been here with me as we're closing off. Being my last session, one of the last things I wanted to say, and this is not the last time you're going to see me, it's just unfortunate, over time, there is there are new steps and new ventures. Being my last session, I always wanted to remind the people that we are the wealth of this nation. We are we are the progress of Zambia. Regardless of who sits in the positions of political authority, regardless of what international institutions may say about us, we are the ones who will determine where this country goes, where we put our money, how we manage our families, how we manage our businesses. That will determine the future of this country. A bunch of money can come in here through stimulus programs and aid programs and whatever programs. Endless amounts of programs can come into this country, and it will yield nothing until we, the citizens of this country, decide that we will manage our own money, we will make our own clothes, we will make our own food. When we start making stuff for ourselves, distributing it amongst ourselves, and doing commerce amongst ourselves in such a way that is so highly profitable that we can now start distributing it to other countries, that is where the nation's wealth will be. The wealth of this nation lies in the mentality of its people. And for all of us to recognize that we play an ultimate role in making sure that we are running this country the best way we know how. So that is why I put it as personal responsibility. Was a big pivot we made back in 2021 when I was hosting the show with Ruben. One of the things we said is we need to start talking more about what people need to do, because I got a message from someone saying, thank you for giving us all the data and the information, the analysis, but what do we do? What do we do next? And that's why we started trying to go into now, what should people do down at the micro level, down at the household level? How do you save your money? How do you invest your money? How do you manage your income? How do you negotiate for your higher income? How do you improve your skills? The personal decisions you're making with skills and all of these things are of extreme and utmost importance. And that's why it's extremely important. And through the years, we've actually managed to grow a family of an audience here, those who watch us online, those who listen to us on radio, those who touch into us in many different platforms. And through the years, I've been very honored to do so. People in various offices, various places who have reached out to us and who have said that they actually keep in line with the show, people who started businesses because of the show. I'm thankful for the many years that I've had and the role that I've been able to play in many people's lives. And I will continue to play that role. Make no mistake, I am still around in terms of in the space. You can still catch as much information. My mission has not ended to create 1 million millionaires in this country by the year 2050. It bounces between 2050 and 2064. But yes, by Zambia 100, we should be talking about 1 million millionaires by 2064. That mission and that vision it's not drifted from my mind. It makes sense to me. It still holds dear to me. And that is my life and living mission, to make sure that this country learns that its people can generate its own wealth, whether through managing their money, managing their business, creating products, doing things that move the needle of this nation forward. And that is my role to play, whether in the financial advisory space, whether even in the entrepreneurship support space. That is my role to play. And that's a role I will continue to play. And I will furnish this nation with as much information as possible to make sure that your decisions are clear. Okay, to make sure that as many of your decisions are clear, because the real game is trying to make as many people make as many sort of decisions. So, like I said, this is not the end. This is not the final step, but it is where I do depart off the train that has been Money FM, and I would like to say a thank you to Mrs. Fumbeshi and Mr. Fumbeshi for opening their door to me and keeping their platform open and working with me over the many years as we've created a stream of content that has done a strong job to me and done a strong job to the society here and has reached many. I'd like to also take this moment to thank all the co-hosts I've had over the years, Yoella, Ruben, Dominic, Vernon, Buchizia. Buchizia and I ran for a very long time. I'd like to thank Stephanie as well, who has been here with me. So thank you to all my co-hosts, even Mr. Stone, Jacob Stone, who's been with us as well from time to time. I'd like to thank the back-end team who has also been writing stories to help furnish my news feeds and also keep me well informed also of the domestic markets. From those who have come, those who have gone, I know that right now Cecilia has been writing herself to the bone and constantly making sure that I always have a feed of information, going to meetings and making sure that questions I need asked, questions that we always work together in terms of analysis. She always makes sure that that information gets to as many people as possible. Co-writing stories with me and always requesting my information. Thank you so much, Cecilia, for that. Doreen, who has been with us for many years, Bestwood in the background as well. Thank you to the team. Lucky, who has been our social media manager and has kept the information flowing from time to time and has been one of the closest colleagues that I've worked with for such a long period of time. We were here when Money FM lights switched on. And to you, Lucky, I say Godspeed, my brother. The sports world credits you in everything that you do. And finally, to you, the audience who have been with us, who has been with me so much. There's been an audience of people who have reached out to me privately, publicly. I get stopped on the streets sometimes. And you know, it's amazing that with a microphone and a platform and just the ability to constantly make sure that a community is well informed of what is happening around them in order to make decisions in their own homes is something that is so highly valued by a society. So I am thankful to as many of you, to all of you actually, for taking time out on a daily basis to make sure you catch up with us, catch up with your economy, and you find this important. It does signal a lot of positivity to this world. I've met many people through this platform. I've worked with many people. Doors have been opened. And as I said, I pray that Money FM continues to fly higher and higher and continues to go further and further. Watch this space. You will see me in many other places. But I do pray that this platform, this will always be the genesis point of a movement that we started to make the people realize they are the source of the wealth of this nation. So without holding on for too long, and to everyone, as I said, thank you, God bless, and wherever you're hearing me from, see you soon somewhere. Goodbye.